Scene 10. The realization. Days began to blur together as summer moved along. We were all over the city that summer. Little Italy, Charlie Square, downtown, Market Street, Concord Avenue, and East Side. Sometimes we sat around doing nothing, but sometimes nothing turned into something. I started noticing CeeLo making moves on his own more often. Making runs for Uncle Sonny, I asked when he returned from one of his moves. He put his finger over his lips, eyes cutting toward the room. Mitch was asleep on the couch with his mouth wide open, TV still on. He still didn't know about CeeLo and Uncle Sonny's arrangement. My bad, I'm not trying to put you on blast, fam. Just noticing you've been rolling out without us a lot more often lately. Well, I gotta do what I gotta do, fam. Ain't like y'all out here doing it with me, CeeLo replied. He didn't say it angrily, just very matter of fact, like he had already accepted something the rest of us had. That was new. Before everything was we. This right here sounded like me. I nodded, but something about it sat heavy. Mitch shifted in his sleep and mumbled something we couldn't make out. CeeLo watched him for a second, then looked back at me. Don't say nothing to him yet, he said. I wasn't, I replied. Good. This is the first time I felt like I was holding somebody else's secret. After that, the space between us started growing in small ways. CeeLo started coming back later, leaving earlier. He also had money more often. Not flashy with it, but just enough. Enough where people could start to ask questions that I'm not sure neither of us wanted to answer. CeeLo kept moving the way he was moving, and I kept noticing way more than I wanted. Mitch was starting to catch on as well. Not because anyone told him, but because things were starting to feel off. He'd wake up on the couch and look around like he missed something. He would ask where CeeLo was, when he left, why he came back quiet at times. One afternoon when CeeLo walked in counting money, Mitch asked, where you been at? Handling something, CeeLo replied. That's all you ever say now, Mitch said, half joking, half not. CeeLo looked at him for a second longer than usual. You asking too many questions for somebody who ain't trying to do nothing. The room just went quiet. Mitch laughed it off, but I could tell it landed wrong. Mitch hated filling out the loop, always had. He wanted to be included, even if he didn't want everything that came with it. Scene 11. This ain't for everybody. That weekend, we all decided to stay at my house over Northside. We were walking back from Market Street when a car slowed down beside us too slow. The window cracked and a voice called out CeeLo's name. He stepped toward the curb without looking at us. Give me a second, he said. Mitch and I stood there watching him lean into the window. We couldn't hear what was being said, but we didn't need to. The exchange was quick, hand to hand. When the car pulled off, Mitch and I didn't say a word. We kept walking, but the pace was different now. There was an eerie silence that had overcome the conversation we were having. The city grew louder, like we crossed to a part that we weren't supposed to notice yet. A block later, Mitch finally asked, so that's what you on now? CeeLo didn't stop walking. You don't know what you talking about. I know what I saw, Mitch said. CeeLo turned around. And what do you think you saw? Mitch hesitated as I stepped in before it went left. Let's just get back to the crib, I said. It's late. CeeLo stared at us both for a second, then shook his head. This ain't for everybody. And that was the first time I realized not everybody was meant to arrive at the same place, even if we started on the same steps. We made it back to the house, but none of us went inside right away. We sat on the steps in silence, listening to the city that suddenly didn't feel like a playground anymore. That was the moment. Not when CeeLo started hustling, not when Mitch started questioning it, but when we all understood. We weren't standing in the same place anymore. Summer was still going, but some things weren't the same, and there was no way to unsee it. Sitting there, I could feel 3 different directions pulling at me, and none of them felt right. I ain't know which way I was supposed to lean, only that staying still too long wasn't an option anymore.